Howdy, y'all. This is my good friend Todd Puckett.
And this is Mr. Holga, who's also sometimes a good friend.
And this is Don's Used Photo Equipment.
Absolutely.
Today, Todd, we're going to talk about buying a
35mm single lens reflex camera.
Otherwise known as an SLR, right. We're going to be very specific today. We're going to talk about just buying this because unless I'm mistaken, it's swap meet season. Now there is a swap meet that's coming up here pretty soon.
Yes.
However, you don't know. You could pick one up at a garage sale. You could pick one up at the antique mall. You know, I'm kind of interested.
Garage sale is better than an antique mall.
I know.
Mall, they think they're antique-y and
they think they're real expensive.
Yeah.
But what I want you to do is be able to pick up one of these cameras and figure out whether or not it's any good.
Yeah.
You know,
just a quick test.
Exactly, just a quick test. And so we've got a lot of cameras in front of us. Why don't you grab one and say, hey,
quite a few.
Let's take a look at it.
Oh, the tried and true.
Which did you get?
Canon AE-1.
Canon AE-1, and I know specifically that this one has an interesting problem.
Oh my!
Can you hear it?
Well, usually, let's see.
Right.
Called the Canon Squeak.
The Canon Squeak.
Now, what does that is simply the lubricants, the fluids inside are
the
dried.
lube is dried up,
and it's metal rubbing on metal. And what happens is if you continue shooting your camera with a metal rubbing on metal, it will freeze up.
One of these days it will.
And when it freezes up, that's it. So a lot of times you can take it to a few places and they can sit there and CLR it, clean, lube, and adjust.
Right.
And when they do that, then it will have a non-squeak. It'll just go flop. You won't hear the Canon Squeak.
But I think that's probably one of the most important things you can do. Grab the camera and fire it sometimes.
Well,
if it sounds right, it sounds right. If it doesn't sound right, it's going to be very clear.
Yes, but one thing, when you do that, this is not a test of strength.
No, it never is. No.
If I just cocked it, so right now it's not going to cock again. That stopping right there does not say, hey, try harder. No, that's how a lot of people break cameras. Do not be a bad bee. Do not break the camera.
So, for example, I don't have a battery in this one right now, and it's not going to fire, and I should not try and keep wrenching it until I can actually make it fire. So this is my Nikon F3. So there's no battery in this one, so I can't test this one right now.
Right, but here's the deal. So when it is like this, that means one of several things. No battery in the camera, or the film is all the way over, and you shot every frame you can shoot.
Right.
And there's no more frames to shoot, and it won't wind further. So if you then force it, you will take the film out of the canister and roll it all over onto one side. And then you
and there's no hope of getting it back into that can easily.
It's like toothpaste. You can't put it back in once it's out. So things to just start off with. Yes, you pick it up and you do want to test it. But if this right here is locking up, don't force it.
Don't force it. So this is my Nikon FM2. It's got a nice little, you can hear the gears.
Yeah.
I can hear the shutter. Now it's got a lens, this has got a body cap on. Everything sounds nice about it.
Now, one thing about this too, he said that, hey, it's all locked up and I don't have a battery to do it.
Right.
Let's see here. There is a way to
speaking of which, it kind of helps to have some batteries.
That right there is a safety, just a no battery trigger.
Oh, really? I didn't know that one.
Yeah. So you could sit there and go, okay, there's no battery in it. I can't fire it. Well, this one has a trigger in which you can fire it, but it only fires it at one shutter speed.
Which shutter speed would that be?
I do believe it is a 60th of a second.
Okay. Just so you can hear that everything is moving.
Right. And then we'll get into the next step of what else to check. But yeah, so on some of these, you do have a little feature to still test it without a battery.
And also, you know, you might want to keep in a little bit of mind, because I know, for example, in the Nikon FM2, that even if I wind this one, but if I push this thing all the way back in, this one's actually got a lock on it.
Yeah. Yeah.
So it won't actually fire unless it's in this mode. Now, there might be another on-off switch that might be keeping the camera from going. So you might want to see, is there an on-off switch? Does it require a battery in it? If there's no battery in it, there's a good chance with an electronic shutter, it's not going to go. I mean, especially if you're buying one that hasn't been used in quite some time, that battery is probably dead.
That's right. So what a lot of times people do is push this in to fire it. And on some cameras, when you do that, that does lock it up.
Right.
So every camera is different.
I push that in, it's locked. And I like this feature. I really do, because that's
why
I don't accidentally shoot photos. Nikon FM2 is one of my favorite cameras.
Yeah. So whenever you're out and about and you see cameras, first thing you have to realize is they do not all act the same. They do not all respond the same. And they do not all have the features, little sub-features on them.
No, they're all like individual puzzle boxes.
Yeah,
they're all just slightly different, which is kind of nice.
And that's why a lot of people will pick Canon or pick Nikon or Pentax or Olympus and stay with it. Because they learn all the little sub-threads of information on it.
We have an assortment here. I've got Nikon, I've got some Minolta, I've got Canon. So we've got a couple that we're taking a look at right now here. So, I even have my Nikon F100. Look at that, I caught that. That was really great. However, this one is obviously not. This one's going to be a battery that has to be done. This is as close to being digital for film as you possibly can, because all I can really do is to either turn this one on or off and see.
You can't fire it any other way.
It's not going to. Well, excuse me. Actually, it is going to fire.
Yeah.
If I have.
And then you have no film in it.
I've got no film in it.
Yep.
I'm just.
And there's nothing that you have to wind, so
nope.
You have to have a battery to have that one work.
Or actually this one is going to take the AAAs, but some of them are going to be where they have actually a special battery altogether. So
that's AA's.
Excuse me, AA's. You're right. Mm-hmm. So you have to be prepared. If you're looking for a certain camera and you're shopping around, you might want to throw those batteries in your bag.
Yes. So whenever you go out shopping, let's say you've got a weekend planned of all of these different garage sales you're going to hit, what you should do is get just a handful of various different batteries to take with you so you can test the camera.
Right.
AA's are one. The 625 button batteries, the 76 button battery, the SLR 40, the SR or L44 for the Canons. So those are four of sort of the basic ones.
Right.
That you will need for cameras more like this. Occasionally the CR123As as well, but that's when we get into more of the more modern things.
Right. This is pretty modern.
2 button batteries, the 625, the 76, the AA, and the little Canon battery.
Well, but the fortunate part is, if for example, a Nikon, most of my Nikons, you take the same button battery, which is great. So if I just have a few extra button batteries, I leave them in my bag, and I just happen upon a Nikon, I can grab one. If you're a Canon person, it's the same Canon. It's 1 or 2 Canon batteries for most of them, so it's really convenient. Yeah, with the 76, sometimes you'll take 2 of those. Right. And they do have 2 76 batteries, or you can buy one that's the 1/3 in battery, which is basically both of them into one. Yeah. And you will see that a lot. So take your batteries with you, take a little screwdriver with you, take a little loose change with you. Loose change? What's change? So that was another thing we were going to discuss. Here, if I can borrow a coin from you. The nickel. Is the nickel? Yeah. Okay. So I'm going to open up. It only takes a nickel to open one of these, and I'll let you open a different one. And, well, sometimes what you should do is you should check for battery corrosion. You got tape over this one. Well, grab another one. That's hilarious. That's what film used to be in there. Yeah, yeah. Now I'm using just a plain old nickel. Usually I have a little device on my keychain, but that's locking the front door right now. So. And then you just put it in there and twist, and there you go. Yeah, so this one is taking the what was these? 76. The 357s. No, these are, well, Varda calls them, this is Varda, they call it 357, but it's usually 357. But one of the nice things I'm looking at for in here is the fact that I don't have any exploded batteries, I don't have any corrosion or something like that. I mean, you have to realize these things are still, they're sensitive. you should take a look for these things. You know, after you've already known that it actually works, and it's got free moving parts, I would definitely start trying to dive in and take a closer look inside the camera.
Yeah, and you don't need to sit there and really twist it.
No, you shouldn't have to wrench on these things. As with all cameras, if it doesn't go easily, then it's got a problem.
Now, what's interesting and what's neat too is that, okay, Canon battery, I have very, very seldom seen a Canon battery leak.
Right.
But the little button batteries, the little Duracells batteries, they leak all the time. And especially the AA, the AAA batteries, they are very prone to leaking. Now, the thing about this, you have an FM2. FM stands for fully manual.
Mechanical.
So, manual, mechanical.
I think it's mechanical.
I think it is. Anyway, it does. See, I just get into these little word flows and just forget. It works. But what that basically means is fully mechanical means you don't really need a battery to operate it.
Nope.
So a FM means that if you take the batteries completely out, like this, and we're just going to set the batteries right here, and you're sitting there going, oh, it doesn't have a battery. Doesn't matter. It fires. 1 second.
Yeah, the battery for this is for the light meter inside. It's not really for running the camera.
Yeah, so that means you can check this out. You can check everything out on this except for the meter.
Except for the meter. And the meter is going to be important to you.
Well, yes. Unless you have a handheld meter, and then if the meter here doesn't work, then you can get this at a lower price and just use your handheld meter. Now,
I know, but if you're going to be haggling for the price, knowing whether or not that meter works is definitely going to help you. I mean, if you're going to buy, you don't want to buy a camera you think the meter works.
Oh yeah, you know how many times that people can bring up cameras to me to sell to me, and I say, well, okay.
Well, does the meter work?
And they say, well, it did 20 years ago when I stuck it in the closet.
when I bought it, it worked 20 years ago.
Great, 20 years ago. Now, another little thing. So you have again.
He holds his camera like a pro, guys. Do you see that?
Hand
like
underneath.
Pro.
Hand over here. The reason is if you put it like this, your fingers will go down. And eventually you'll have a lot of pictures with your fingers in it. So underneath, that way if your right hand drops it, your left hand catches it. So that's just how they do it like that. And then just sit there and go like this and just look and, oh yeah, there you go. All in focus. 1 second. Now, we really can't show you this online, but whenever you're in the situation, you says, okay, it cocks, it fires. What do I do next?
Yeah, what do you do next?
Well,
now keep in mind, guys, we're talking to somebody who buys cameras all the time. He runs through these things every time when he sees a camera he's wanting to buy. Now, he does it very quickly. He doesn't narrate while he's doing it, but I have seen him do this many times.
Yeah.
He'll grab a camera. He'll have gone through all the thing. I will hear the 1 second. He'll check for the battery, everything. He does it every time.
The 1 second, and that's the thing of it is what you're wanting to see is if the timing is fine and if the aperture is fine. And you do it with you do two checks with one thing. You put it on 1 second for your shutter speed. You put this down as far as it goes to like f/16, which means it's the smallest hole. Then you hold it up and you go like that. And what you do is you will see, I wish we had a light behind here.
You can actually see it open and close in there.
You can see it open and close in here. So what happens is that when you're looking at it through the lens, wow, there's a little bit of grease on here.
He's so picky about my cameras.
Well, yeah, because it's not mine. Yeah, I don't know if that's grease or rust. But whenever you put it on bulb and close it down like this, you can sit there and look at the blades, and there's actually rust on here.
It probably is. They're old.
They're old. Now, that can't be cleaned, but that's how you check it. And also, when you put it on 1 second and put it down to 16, whoops. Oh, it's on bulb. 1/1000. See, it's just the 1 second's working. It's shutting down completely. You don't see the aperture move into place. You don't see it move out of place. It just goes, it opens and closes. And when you're looking through the back end of it,
right,
like this, when the curtain opens, the aperture's in place. When the curtain closes, you assume it's it opens up. And that's why you check the front and look at it like that and see. Now, this is a cool lens. This is a 51.4. And it's a 51.4 AI. So that a Nikon is good with an FM that you can check without having a battery. Now, if you do have batteries, set the batteries back in. Slow, just kind of put them, screw them back in. Whoops. There we go.
This is just really a video of us checking the batteries, guys, on my cameras.
Yeah, he told me to get free work out of me yet. Now, put it up, look, push over to the side, and there's a plus and a circle and a minus. So on this one, there's a plus circle and a minus on the right-hand side, and you see it whenever you sit there and go like this, it goes up and down. When you go like this, it goes up and down. It moves around. So check the sills up here. You can also see down on your glass, if there's sometimes at the very bottom of the glass a little dark streak over there, it's from hitting the buffer up at the top, and the buffer sticking to the mirror, and that's rubbing off. So sometimes you can look in here and see real quick on the very bottom of this, you can see a little streak. And they're going, okay, the seal needs to be replaced. Then open it up on the inside, run your finger along here, along the bottom part. A lot of times you will feel it sticky. That means the seals in here.
I don't think there's any seals in there. That's just a metal over, that's metal.
No, there is thin material in there. And it's a different kind of material too. It's not your normal
very thin
felt.
If it is. It's not not a very thick felt, so.
And you can also hear, I don't know if you can hear that, but it's wiggling.
I don't know if you can hear that. It's really noisy.
Yeah, it's really noisy. But that means that you probably do want to get those seals done.
Nah.
It's not your Holga. This is a Nikon.
And?
Yes.
It's an FM2.
Fully mechanical too.
Right.
Now, what does 2 mean?
No light leaks.
2 means it's
the Revenge, number 2.
Number 2. It actually means that it goes up to 4,000ths of a second instead of, I think, 1,000th.
Which is really nice for that kind of camera.
So there are, again, several different kind of things that you want to do.
The H3 goes up to
I'm going to show you
2000.
the H3 as well. So, see, the F3 this isn't the HP.
No, not the HP. There's just an F3. I'm sorry. I didn't want I don't know what the HP is, and I didn't know that.
High point. High point, it stands for F3 high point.
I thought it stood for Highland Park.
Highland Park. Well, it could, highfalutin. Now, again, when you take the batteries out of this.
Yeah, well, we were shown that one. Yeah. To bypass it.
Bypass it this way.
But you're only going to get the one speed, so you can't check the check the 1 second shutter.
Can't check the 1 second shutter, but you can turn it all the way down to f22.
And see if the lens opens?
Yeah, and see if the aperture closes down.
Okay.
So you still have that function. Now, what the HP stands for is high point. What that means is that when people who get older like us wear glasses when they're shooting, and they put their eye up to here, what you see in the frame is what you get on the negative. And you can see, the HP is built for people who are using glasses,
right,
to look in and be able to see completely what's going to be in the frame that they shoot. Because if some cameras, like this one, whenever you're looking through it, you may get more than you see on the edges, because your eyes aren't really, with the glasses, not allowing it to work better. But anyway, that's the difference between the F3 and F3 HP. Is that high point. Now, a lot of times the HPs are what journalists will use, because, of course, a lot of them sometimes wear glasses.
No. Well, I mean, that's one of the nice things about the my Nikon F100 here. It has the adjustable doppler, is it?
Yeah, built-in diopter.
Diopter, excuse me. And it's built in, so I can just adjust it, which is like most modern cameras now. So
the Doppler is
my Nikon D750.
The weather.
The Doppler radar, yeah.
Yeah. Now, we have also a good old Minolta SRT 201.
201. They have 201s, 101s.
Oh, they've got a lot of them.
They've got it,
201s.
You know. And well, the other camera that I got, which I thought was pretty cool here, is the Pentax K1000, and this is actually Mrs. Holga's camera. But somehow or other, it hangs out with all my cameras because I don't want it to be lonely.
Yeah, on this one, it's really hard to see inside of there. So what you have to do with this one, of course, is just simply open this bad boy up, look through this direction, and it opens up. There's a nice tight aperture in there.
All right, well, so this is Mrs. Holga's K1000.
Yeah.
That's a pretty decent 1 second there.
Yeah.
But this one is that's a good beginner camera for a lot of people. A lot of people get the K1000.
1000. Usually right at the end of the 1000, one 1000.
Right?
Yeah. Again, a little wobbly on here. Open it up. Wow, there is no... Oh, there's very, very low. Yeah, these could use some resealing. But that's okay. Now, again, go up here to F22.
F22.
1 second, push it. And it's, you just kind of...
Can you show that to the camera?
Whenever you look through here, you can really see that thing's completely open. The circle is tight. 1 second good. And so you say, why test the 1 second?
Now this one's mechanical, or did this one require the battery? The battery is just for the meter, am I correct?
Battery is just for the meter for that camera.
The K1000 is a mechanical camera.
Yes. Now the reason why you check the 1 second is, first of all, usually whenever the shutter speeds go, it's at the extremes and works inward. So your 1 second is going to go before your 500th of a second goes.
Right.
And it's easier to tell the 1 second as opposed to the thousandth of a second.
Okay.
What exactly.
If you are in the market for a camera, the one of the things you have to keep in mind is whatever you spend on a camera, you could be spending more of that to have it repaired. So obviously you want to try and get a camera that is in as good a condition as you can possibly get.
Right, to start with. And if you know somebody who does repairs and you have an idea of what the cost is going to be, factor that into your purchasing of it. Right. Because sometimes I found like one camera that was like beautiful mint on the outside, but had some issues. So once you got it repaired, then it was a beautiful camera that worked perfectly and sold for better amount. But ones that are banged up, a lot of times you don't really want to put that much money into them, because unless you just want to shoot it, you're not going to really get your money back. So shooting and buying to resell are two different ways of looking at it. But those are kind of the things that you need to do whenever you're going out garage sale looking for cameras. You need to take batteries with you, take a little cleaning cloth sometimes. Sometimes I take a little used toothbrush to get a lot of the dirt off of it. And then
roaming the countryside with a toothbrush.
Yep. And a sack full of dollar bills to make purchases.
Right.
These things right here are fun things to find at garage sales. And these are some of the ways or things that you need to look at on the camera before you make your buying decision. Okay.
But I tell you what, let's talk about a couple of things that don't affect the camera, but yet you should still kind of keep a lookout for. So for example, on my, this is one of my FM2s. This is known as brassing, where the paint is actually rubbed through. So this is actually a piece of brass under here, but yeah, it's been set down enough times, it's been rubbed on the table, the paint has come off. Actually, that's a desired type of thing. That's a desired look, because it looks like a camera that's being used. Minor dents are not a big deal, but if you see big dents, then I would be concerned.
Especially on the housing area.
Right. So actually, this one's got a nice little dent right here, but it's not enough to affect the camera. Yeah. However, if it was more, I would be concerned that it's been dropped too many times. And if you can shake it and you're going to have like a bunch of loose parts in there.
Yeah. Done that before. No, it's mint. It's mint. No, it's not.
So, torn leather, torn leatherette or whatever it's going to call. Just if you can live with it being torn, I would go for it.
Yeah.
A bad, crummy looking strap, I would just go for that as well. Like I said, the camera itself has got character. Just go with it. But you have to be the inspector. You have to look for the damage that's actually going to affect the camera itself.
Yeah. And another thing too is that some things that you need to. This is whenever you start looking for cameras in particular. For example, on the Nikon F3, they are a lot of times you'll see these things with an actual like a motor drive. I got it.
Right. Oh, did you? I thought it hit the ground.
No, I'm quick. It's a motor drive. Now, in order to use the motor drive, you have to take off this cap.
Right.
Now, when you take off this cap, and see this one right here. Oh, yeah, here we go. Whenever you take off this cap, there's an issue that you have. There's a hole in the bottom. Now, whenever you are... Whenever you take the motor drive off and you don't have that bottom cap, you have light leak.
Yeah.
Major light leak. So
if you're going to buy a camera with the motor drive, they need to have that screw to fit in that place.
Yes. If you don't have this screw, then you'll see a lot of people who just put gaff tape over it. It works.
So if you look at the bottom of your camera, so now you saw a piece of tape on the bottom of mine, only because I want to know what film is in there. I'm not covering up a hole that's missing. But so if you do see tape on the bottom of the camera, take it off. Take a look at what's under. See what's under that tape.
But certain cameras, you need to be aware of the little caps on the bottom,
right?
Because they're there for a reason. This is the battery, but this one right here is for the motor drive, and you need it for this camera.
Right.
Now, some of them see like they have motor drives, but there's no hole there,
which is nice. But
it's nice. Now,
so I don't have any hole going into the system, which is...
So there are a lot of cameras that you just kind of need to learn the subtleties of. The F3, the Canon F1, and that's why you have a Nikon F and an F2.
Right.
It's because Canon made the F1. So they skipped the 1 and made the 2.
Right, right.
So they wouldn't have 2 F1s out there.
No, nobody wants to do that.
F2, F3.
Get the F1. You want the Nikon or the Canon? No, they don't ever want to say that.
So little subtleties about that come with picking one camera and using that as your favorite. And whenever you go out looking for that one camera, you will notice a lot of little things, characteristics for that one camera that don't apply to others.
So speaking of motor drives, I mean, if you were at a garage sale or a swap meet and you see a camera and it comes with a motor drive, would you recommend getting the motor drive, or is it just useless?
Well, get it because it comes with it. But a lot of times you will find that those motor drives have the Hemi, that motor drive over there. In fact, this right here is your.
Is that for a Nikon?
That's a Nikon. It's an MD4 Nikon. It is the one for this. Now, what you need to do right here is a little slot inside this battery compartment where you put that tab, that the
little screw. You're going to put it in there.
You're supposed to put it right in here so that you don't lose it. And whenever you take it off,
well, that's too convenient.
You pull this out and put it back on. So this is a built-in compartment. But whenever you buy these things like this, you check the F3, and if it's got a motor drive on it, you open this up and see if it's there or not.
Now that's now an important part about these things, and we've already discussed batteries and battery corrosion. These guys, bad boys, are going to use AA's or something like that, and they will corrode. The time. Definitely open up those to find out.
So that is, you're going to have far more problems with that issue on a motor drive than in your camera body normally. So yeah, It's fun. I mean, I used to go to camera shows a lot. And so you kind of just walk up to a table and just do a run through check with it. There are a lot of people at camera shows who are there all the time. And so they check these things out before you get there.
Yeah.
But there are people who are there for the first time kind of clearing someone's possessions out. You know, somebody's passed away, and so they're just going
dead man's cameras.
That's
very sad. Very sad.
It's sad, and they don't really know what they have, and they don't know how to operate them. But you know, just kind of know and check. But you do. Well, in my position, I do go through this routine a lot.
You do.
And
I mean, you know, I've seen more than once people say, "Hey, I've got some cameras," and you know, Todd immediately gravitates to the ones that everybody's going to want, and he puts them through their paces.
Yeah,
you know, he's going to check that 1 second shutter. He's going to make sure that the light meter is working. He's going to make sure that everything is not, and I say broken, but everything is operating smoothly.
Yeah.
Because a camera is like a very nice watch. Everything just clicks into place. You don't force anything, and that's always the important thing. Is if you have to force it, it's probably no bueno.
Yeah. I have a saying I always tell people with that, but that's do not force anything.
Never force your camera.
It's just not. A lot of people, you know, oh yeah, it's working, and then I get it here and I go, no, it's broke, and here's why it's broke. Oh, well, little cousin so-and-so was playing with it.
No. Oh, well, he only cost you
Well, we got the door open, but we couldn't close it. How'd you get the door open? With a screwdriver. You don't see professionals out there doing that. No. But they don't know.
I don't carry a screwdriver in my bag.
No, you really shouldn't. Loose change to get the doors open, but that's about it. But yeah, that's kind of the very basics of what you look for whenever you're going garage sale looking or hunting or to photo swaps or anything.
Well, I think the last thing is the important part about buying an SLR is to know your prices. Some of these cameras here are sought after. Some of them are not as sought after. Some of them are cheaper. I mean, I used to, for example, I had a Nikon FG for quite some time, which I think the camera is only worth $20, but I took some phenomenal pictures with it.
Yeah, there's nothing wrong with an FG. Nothing.
There's nothing, but people snub their noses at it. It only goes up to like 1,000th of a second, and I always cured that with some ND filters. But this Nikon F3, people are just like, oh, I got to have one of those, or a Canon AE-1. Oh, I got to have that one. It's like, well, you know, ultimately, it's the camera that works the best for you that should do the job.
Yeah. But the funny thing is that I also know that whenever somebody's offering you the camera to, you know, like, I have this camera I want to sell. And I said, well, what do you want for it? Well, a lot of times, like with like an F3, they will sit there and look it up and say, oh, this one's worth $500. Mm-hmm. And I said, yes, but you don't have that one.
Or they're going on eBay and they'll see one. Well, this one is being sold right now for $300. No, that's the price they asked for. That's not the price it's selling for.
But also the difference between F3, F3 HP, there is a price difference between them, and a difference between an FM and FM2. There is a price difference. FM3A, there is a price difference.
Yes,
but you know, I mean, there are price just because it says FM doesn't mean the FM's the same as an FM3A or an FM3T. They're not the, just because you see the price for the FM3T does not mean that that's what you get for the FM.
So this is my FM2.
You kind of notice the differences.
And this is my FM2. Now, without the lens, essentially these are the same cameras, except for that one's black on black and this one's black on silver. And would you believe it or not, there's going to be a price difference here.
Black bodies are a little bit more sought after.
Black on black bodies are always more sought after. So
for things
if you want to save money, then just go with the silver.
Go with the silver. There's an AE-1 program, or an AE-1 with black top and an AE-1 with chrome top. The AE-1 black tops are more expensive.
They say supposedly made fewer of them. They are more considered press cameras.
Professional.
So it's more sought after.
What that means, I have no idea.
I don't know, because they have all the exact same equipment and dials and bells and whistles. They're the exact same camera.
The F3P doesn't.
Okay.
The F3P is a press camera. It has huge seals to keep dust and dirt out for being out in the battlefield.
The battlefield.
The battlefield. That was the F3 press camera for taking out to more dangerous places to photograph.
Okay.
So, but that one is built. I mean,
you mean like the zoo?
No, that's not, unless you're in the cage with the animals.
Not the zoo.
No. But yeah, there are subtle differences like that too.
Okay. Well, keep in mind, guys. You know, you have to educate yourself. We certainly hope this helps you.
Yeah, absolutely.
To dig into your cameras, and because you know there's nothing worse than buying a camera that you think is great, getting it home to find out it's just a parts camera. There's just nothing worse than that.
I actually bought some cameras today. I wish I could. I forgot where I put them, but the hilarious thing is that I really didn't buy the camera so much as the camera straps.
Yes. He loves camera. He buys camera straps. He loves buying camera straps.
I did. We bought, I got 2 camera straps that I'll have out probably by the time this comes out for sale, the hippie straps.
The hippie straps.
The hippie straps.
So that's another thing to look for. If the camera comes with a strap, consider that a bonus.
Yeah, that's a bonus.
That's a bonus.
Especially if it's red Mickey Mouse.
Yeah, because most of them are great.
Most of them are great. Red is definitely more sought after than
I went after the sought after.
Yes. And the hippie straps, gotta love them, man. Gotta love them. And the really cool hippie straps are the ones that have the place where you put the film in. Right,
the little bandolier.
Yeah. So these things right here are what makes it really cool, a hippie strap. There are some out there that don't have those, and those are the more current models. So you got to go back to the older days to get the hippie straps.
Well, Todd, I think that's going to be it for us, right?
Yeah.
And I'm not subtly suggesting that maybe Subway should give us some free sandwiches.
I don't know how they.
I don't know. They could. It's not like Subway should give us like maybe a club foot long for me and a club foot long for you.
Yeah, but
we're not getting paid for this at all, guys.
Subway, if you look down in the notes, there will be a way to contact him.
Yeah, exactly. For that free sandwich. Anyways, guys, please, as usual, please do share, like, subscribe, tell a friend, tell 2 friends.
Yeah, tell everybody. Because
I still have the lens baby, but Mama Holga already knows.
She knows about it. Yeah. Now here's the deal: the people last year, 2020.
Last year.
Yeah, last year, we had a lot of people sign up, share, promote the show. This year we haven't really pushed that. That's something we haven't really pushed. So please share, like,
Todd would
tell
appreciate
people.
it if you would share.
I would. I just feel so much better when people like me.
Guys, we're getting out of here.
Take care.
See y'all later.
Oh man, ouch.
Man, I can't believe you broke my cameras.
Which one?
All of them. All of them on there.
I want to tell you, it takes a freaking talent to do that.
They were all working when I came in.
No.
Now they're all busted.
Yeah, well, they got what they deserve.